What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. So today we finally got the update notification on the announcement board. So this update is going to be coming out next week and it's really exciting because we have got some new ephemera units, weapon refines, some changes to ether raids, as well as some overall UI changes. So I'm going to be discussing these weapon refines, ephemera units and all of these topics, and you can feel free to leave your opinion in the comments. Let's have a chill discussion. So let us start with the ephemera units. So this time around we have got some pretty good units, and the first unit we have is Hot Springs Ryoma, not to be confused with the Dancer Ryoma that we did get in ephemera pool a couple of months ago. So Hot Springs Ryoma provides really good fodder in its Curtains Plus. In my opinion, we don't really have too many good inheritable lances, and its Curtains Plus is basically one of the best one because it gives you -2 special cooldown at start of the map, and that is really strong for having Gale Force builds. So even units who don't have access to stuff like Time Pulse and all of those things can still make use of higher cooldown specials rather easily. The biggest example of this is in ether raids, where you could have its curtains on like a very fast dancer like maybe a Zira, or a hard hitting unit like Carmack for example. These are just examples. So this can allow you to have a one-tap Gale Force because you can further reduce the cooldown of Gale Force with like Time Pulse or Quick and Pulse, and then if it's a 2 cooldown you could easily trigger it in a single hit with a Blade Skill on slot A. So this is really good because this allows you to have one-tap Gale Force, and it's really fun in ether raids to Gale Force. And even if you don't really care about ether raids, still it's pretty nice for like Gale Force builds in general. If you don't want to have that, then he also has Attack Defense Solo, which is also a really good skill that he could inherit. So really happy that he's here. We also have Myr. Now Myr's fodder is really lackluster. We already have Honed Dragons as a Sacred Seal, and I guess if you don't have a Myr available, then you could fodder her for Fury 3 if you're just starved out of Hinatas, so that could be an option. But for many people it might be an opportunity to fix their Myr with like a bad IV that they might have, like minus defense or minus attack, because Myr's weapon refine is actually really solid, so she can be a pretty good unit even at like low merges. So that would be a pretty nice thing for many people. I do have a minus attack Myr on my free to play account, so definitely looking forward to getting this. We also have Bars with some easy reposition, so if you're lacking reposition in your barracks, he's here with that. And we also have Oscar with Lancebreaker 3, which is useful for Arena Assault or just for the budget builds. Also has Dual Rally Skill, which isn't really all that useful. I mean, arena scoring does require the plus version of these skills, but still I guess it's something. Altena does have Sturdy Stance 2, and that is a pretty nice skill for budget units on enemy phase. So that's a very good skill that you could have, and if you're trying to plus and merge her, and because she's hard to come by, then you could definitely, you know, just use her as a merge. Faye did get a pretty nice weapon refine as well, so if you're trying to plus and merge her, here's a free copy. Otherwise she does have drawback and renewal at the same time, which you could inherit. And finally we have got Eliwood. Now Eliwood is an exceptional unit, but his fodder is not really all that good. He just has Ward Cavalry and Axebreaker 2. Ward Cavalry isn't really used all that much because cavalry units usually don't make for the best tanks, but still this could be decent if you're trying to plus and merge Eliwood. So this time around we have got some nice units that a lot of people might try to plus and merge, like Eliwood, Altena, Faye, so you could just use that as merges. And I would highly recommend getting Ryoma because that fodder is very rare and it's very unique. So I would personally get Ryoma, then Myr, and then probably Bars for reposition. So that is going to be my priority. And then we can move on to the weapon refinery. So this time around we are getting Arden from the Grail pool, getting Arden's Blade. So Arden definitely has a renewed popularity ever since Pawns of Loki released, because HP is the most important stat in that game mode. And Arden has got the highest HP stat in the entire game. He has got pathetically low resistance and speed, but he does have really high HP, and he does have workable attack stat and pretty high defense. So I'm hoping that this weapon can work based off his HP or something like that. He also has an exclusive skill in Follow-Up Ring, which is gonna be giving him a follow-up attack in both phases, but unlike the fighter skills like Bullfighter or Vengeful Fighter, it doesn't really give him the special cooldown acceleration. So I'm hoping his weapon can have some kind of special acceleration. That would be pretty sick. and he can actually be a pretty decent unit with that weapon refine, hopefully. The next unit we have is Genny. So Genny got completely outclassed by Natasha. Natasha is present in 3-star, 4-star pool, has got better attack, speed, bulk, HP, just all things. And she's also easy to get for better IVs. Genny, on the other hand, is a 5-star locked healer. So this weapon refine couldn't have come at a better time. Genny does have gravity at base, so I think that's definitely going to be an effect which she might have. And the thing is that unlike Mist, she can go for like an offensive route because of her attack stat for a healer, which is still pretty decent. So I think Genny is going to be having a pretty offensive weapon refine. It would be interesting if they give some kind of healer an auto follow up weapon refine, because Genny's speed is really low, so having an auto follow up could perhaps help her offensively. She also has Wrathful Staff at base, so I think her weapon is going to be having Dazzling Staff. I think that would be really annoying thing if they just put Wrathful Staff in her weapon as well. Then we have got Kinshi Hinoka or Bow Hinoka, the unit that spoils everyone's Hall of Forms runs, also spoils training tower runs for the armor quests. So she is definitely a pretty annoying unit there, but honestly she's not the greatest unit. Her attack stat is pretty low for an armor slayer at base 32. Her bulk is also not very high, so she's likely gonna get one shot by any kind of like good armor that has got distant counter. So for helping her, she definitely needs something like a sturdy impact or null follow up in her weapon. That would help her a lot. She does have the armor effectiveness and drive attack built into her weapon, but it's not really all that insane compared to the modern weapons. So she was not the unit who needed the weapon refine most, but still I guess she could appreciate that. Another unit who probably not a lot of people thought would get a weapon refine before so many of the Gen 1 units or so many of the other Gen 2 units were struggling is Lewyn. So Forseti Tome is basically a reverse desperation and it gives him +3 speed. That's basically it. Nothing really too insane, but still it's definitely pretty effective with having Special Spiral and other slot B skills, because your weapon just frees up that slot. So having a weapon refine in this is definitely going to be making him pretty powerful, and he basically relies on his speed for his weapon because he cannot really have the desperation if he's not going to be naturally doubling. So I think this might give him extra speed. So overall this is a pretty nice badge for Ephemera units. I'm actually surprised they gave us Ryoma because he's definitely a very coveted fodder, and Arden here getting the weapon refine before Hector. The original Hector with Armads, so that's something. Also before Leon, Joshua, all of those units. I also want to talk about Vault of Heaven because I did get a lot of questions asking me my opinion on this, and the reason why I didn't really give that because we don't know the score of tier 38, where they're adding tier 29 to tier 38. To enter Vault of Heaven, you need to make sure that you reach tier 27 or tier 28, and then you'll go up to tier 31. You're going to start at that, and that is basically the Vault of Heaven. In my opinion, it's pretty easy right now to reach tier 27 or even tier 28 as free-to-play players. For tier 28, you definitely have much less margin because you need to have a very solid defense, but tier 27 is definitely something you can reach with 2 unmerged light mythics or 2 unmerged astro mythics. And if you're in Vault of Heaven and if you want to make sure that you stay there, then you got to reach the final tier 38 to make sure you start again at Vault of Heaven. If you do not reach tier 38, you're going to be getting demoted, and you're going to be starting at tier 23 next season. So it's actually pretty good in my opinion for both players who don't really care about ether rates as well as competitive players, because for people who don't really play ether rates that much, you're going to be getting easier matches because all of the tryhards are probably going to be going to Vault of Heaven, and if they're not, then they're probably going to be a bit higher tier than you because they are going to be starting at tier 23. So this can basically allow you to have easier matches. So it's pretty good for those people as you could get more rewards by doing less effort, in my personal opinion. And for the competitive players, you get to have, the matches which you thrive for. Some really strong defense teams from the same players who also have the same passion for ether rates. And in Vault of Heaven, there's a different rule. Basically, you're going to be getting +10 bonus to your lift if all of your units survive. So it's basically a backtrack on the sack play which they introduced in the Book 5 update. a lot of people didn't really like the suicide or the sack play, as they say. So basically they made it so that even if you lose like a 1 unit in Aether8's offense, as long as you have the bonus mythic, you're not going to be losing any kind of lift. So you could just go there, kamikaze with a unit like maybe Legendary Edelgard, Ninja Lin, and just absolutely shred through opponent's team. And when they don't have threats left, you can easily pick them off with your remaining team, even if your main unit dies, like Ninja Lin in this example. Which was really weird because the whole point of Fire Emblem is survival of your units. In no other game mode, you're like allowed to lose a unit, like Arena or the Grand Hero Battle, Legendary Hero Battles, anywhere. If you lose a unit, you're either having the game over or you're going to be losing some points. In case of Arena Assault, Arena, all of those things. Only in the story mode, you're allowed to lose your units and you're going to be fine with that. But even then, if you're doing quests and stuff for the story mode quest, you're gonna be needing to survive all of the units. So it was a bit weird thing, and it was definitely pretty controversial. So I guess for the competitive players, they can finally have this. I think the people who might be losing in this change are probably gonna be free-to-play players who are trying to be competitive, because it's gonna be really hard to be competitive when you're gonna be facing these whales with their very strong defense teams, and they have very strong offense units. It's going to be very hard to defend against them. And unlike the whales, you don't have unlimited resources. You cannot really give time pulse to every single Aether8's defense unit. You cannot give every single unit pulse smoke on your offense. So I think those players are going to be having it a bit hard. And I'm curious to see how the score is of tier 38. In the worst case scenario, this can be an absolutely whale tier where you need like 20 mythic merges to even reach this tier, and it's there to cater to like 0.1% of the like Aether8's players who really care about Aether8s, and you see on like top page and stuff like that. So I'm afraid that that might happen. Tier 38 might need a lot of mythic merges. So I mean, in a way, it can be a whale containment zone. Reaching Vault of Heaven, even as a free-to-play player, I don't think it's very hard. Staying there is definitely much harder, because you're going to be facing some tough opponents. So we'll have to see. I don't really comment on this because we don't really know how the score of tier 38 is, and that kind of decides for me if it's going to be a super whale containment zone or something else, because if you need a lot of mythic merges, then most players are out as it is. Like 20 mythic merges, it's just a lot. So that's Vault of Heaven, and they're also making some other changes to Aether8s, which I'm a big fan of, honestly. Vault of Heaven, on paper it sounds good. We don't know in reality, but these changes are absolutely good for every single person, because the number of defense maps will increase from 5 to 15. So they've made it so that you need to have a bonus mythic on your defense team as well. And it's really hard to change your team all the time with all of these defense mythic units. So having 15 maps is honestly really amazing. I wish this was actually 20, but maybe I'm asking for too much. And more blessings are going to be obtainable from the daily rewards, which is really good. We still do not have a lot of blessings. Blessings are still rare in my opinion. And having more blessings is really good because you slap that blessing on them and they can get double SP. So it's really good for SP training in general. And the blessings can be really good for Arena Assault as well. Most players give like their Arena Assault units Anima and Dark blessings, the defensive blessings, and you could use them in either of the seasons because those seasons do rotate. So that can be really useful. And now we can get 3 blessings on the first day and on the 6th day of Aether8s if you're playing each day basically. So this is really good change in my opinion. They're also adding some higher level structures. This was expected, because they have made it so that we can have extra slot in Aether8's offense with mythic units like Regan. So that allows you to have like quad mythic setup, which can easily have your units reach more than 70 HP and avoid the max level panic manner. However, level 8 is going to be there for 75 HP, I believe. So did expect this change. Aether8's Art is also going to be getting 2 songs, which is pretty good. Mjolnir Strike structure update, honestly I don't really care that much. I just use the Muspel Pyre and the special cooldown reduction one, the Nifl's Icicle, I think. Those are the 2 ones I use, so I don't really care. Pawns of Loki changes are also there, so basically from turns 4 to 6 the enemy combos are gonna be tame. Right now the problem is that on turn 4 or 6 it's basically a gamble. You might face a plus 28 combo team, which is going to be impossible for you to defeat because you don't even have like full squad at that point. Having this change is definitely going to be making it a bit easy, and if you're having difficulty with Pawns of Loki, then I would highly suggest to play on the intermediate difficulty. That definitely helps quite a bit. But as we go higher the tiers, we're going to be facing more insane units from the brigades of the players essentially. They're also adding map skip animation basically, which I really like because sometimes it can take quite a bit of time playing that game mode. They're also going to be adding Hana and Gaul into the heroic rail pool. Hana is definitely a unit which many people are going to be looking forward to because she's just so good as a free-to-play unit, very unique. They're also just doing some other changes to the UI and stuff like that, which is really good for quality of life. They're also going to be adding this kind of like information banner, which you could click on the unit when you go to the hero check. This is going to be giving you a small description that we see at when we start the game. And this is a really big one. Event banners are going to be improved, so you could see the dates when the event is going to be ending, and you could also, you know, have it not glow all the time if you've already collected all of the rewards, and that's a pretty good thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to this update. Really excited for Arden's weapon refine, honestly. Want to see what it is. Let me know in the comments what you think about this update. I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and if you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes make my videos wait as much as we've been waiting for the DC weapon refines. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.